beautiful palate. Very balanced, very well integrated, very round. It's a great combination of the red and the black fruits. You do get that smoke and the stewed characteristics of it. That gravel minerality is really coming through. Really speaks of place, the actual vineyard that it comes from. Very well integrated, very high quality oak is used in this. The tannin level is a medium plus tannin level, almost a borderline high. There's a lot of a wood tannin characteristic to this wine. The acidity is a medium, and then the alcohol's a little bit higher. The alcohol's a medium to a medium plus alcohol. Great wine, great complexity, good example of Tempranillo. I think they're both good examples of Tempranillo. I love the fact that one of these is a New World wine, and we're actually tasting that earthen component in both of them.
Sure, absolutely.
To be able to taste a New World wine and be able to get that sense of place from it, I think it really says something. But I liked them both. They're both beautiful.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I have, just tasting through both of them, I do, again, I think that one of the hallmarks of Tempranillo is an elevated fruit, what we call a fruit tannin. So there's a balance here with fruit tannin and oak tannin. Typically, oak tannin will be measured, or you'll notice oak tannin sort of on the back of your palate and on the back of your tongue, whereas fruit tannin you'll notice up at the front of your mouth. It's the tannin that attacks your teeth and gums and really has that sort of cotton bally or that drying effect on your teeth and gums. And I think that it's a hallmark of Tempranillo, and it's really nice to see that both of these wines have that fruit tannin.
Absolutely.
I think again, I mean, consistency in terms of in my world, my tasting world, I think that 3A does show that ripe, forward fruit again. It definitely shows hallmark characters of Tempranillo, but I would say this is a great example of Tempranillo grown in a warm climate and in a New World style. And I would agree with you that the fact that it is showing some earth, I think, is really cool.
Yeah.
And 3B is just that classic old world, that intense Tempranillo, that all that stewed and animalistic character and the just the ripeness of it. Again, there's a rusticity to 3B that just really screams old world wine to me. So yeah, I mean, I think these are
good examples.
I think they're great examples. I would say that I would be, if I were a Texas winemaker that put this wine, I would put this wine up against any example of Tempranillo. These show really well. So
why don't we
solid.
Go ahead and reveal? And we actually just got another question in.
Okay.
The question is, where does Zinfandel come into play when it comes to prominent grape varieties here in Texas? Great question. It is one of the varietals that Texans hung their hat on for a number of years, and it's still growing very well. Messinahoff does a wonderful Zinfandel that they actually call the Texan, going back to the kind of marketing play on words. But one of the reasons I think Zinfandel does so well here, not only the climate, but Zinfandel has that bit of a spice characteristic that goes absolutely perfect with the cuisine that we have here in Texas. A lot of Tex-Mex, a lot of barbecue, some of those smoked meat characteristics, and Zinfandel is an absolute perfect partner with that. And I think that's one of the reasons we have seen so much success. So as Devon takes these off, 4B, as you can say, is the 2005 Pesquera, one of the premier Ribera del Dueros, really put the region on the map for Tempranillo. Oh, and the other one is the 2007 Cornelius from Inwood Estates. Inwood Estates is one of my absolute favorite Texas wineries. Dan Gatlin is the viticulturalist and enologist and owner, and he does a wonderful job with his wines. Has a great little white, a Cabernet Tempranillo blend, but this is his 100% Tempranillo. So 4A was the Inwood Estate, and 4B was the Pesquera. The price points on these, the Inwood Estates is going to come at you at about $40 retail, where the Pesquera, the 2005, is going to be $35.
Yeah, I mean, just I guess a closing point to add, I would be psyched if I'd be psyched to put that
Yeah.
Inwood on the
It's
table
good
against
stuff.
this. That's solid. Good.
Absolutely.
Good deal.
Let's move on to the final flight of the tele-tasting. This is going to be the Orange Muscat. Devon, if you'd like to go ahead and pour those.
Yeah, let's get these. Okay, so we have a new question that came in. What is the most widely planted grape variety in Texas? That is an excellent question.
I actually am not exactly sure. Texas is still really trying to figure out what we're going to be growing here well. The industry is a rather new industry. The first vineyards were planted and commercialized back in the mid-70s. For the first couple of years, we planted a number of different things, including Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Cabernet, varietals that not necessarily are fit for these climates, but at the time, those were very marketable wines, and it's what the consumers were looking for. As we have more and more individuals coming to Texas and planting grapes and trying to plant the proper varietals, we are seeing more of those Mediterranean varietals, and I think that's where we're going to see Texas moving to in the future. Chardonnay, Cabernet, Sauvignon Blanc, of course, are always going to have always going to be a major component to any wine region. Texas is a great example of that. We also do some native varietals, native to America, such as the Linois or the Black Spanish varietal, and other things like that. But I don't necessarily, we'll be glad to look that information up and try to get it to you as soon as possible. I don't know off the top of my head which is the most widely planted varietal, but thank you for your question.
All right, we're going to go on to the last flight. Flight 5, we've got A and B in front of us.
Dessert.
Yes. These are both Muscat grapes, the Orange Muscat grape. So wine 5A is pale yellow color. It's got some green tinges and perhaps the power of suggestion, but there's a little bit of orange tinging or bronze tinging in here. Viscosity is medium plus. Real beautiful, ripe blood orange and orange zest. Reminds me of that that aroma of a freshly zested orange right as it hits your nostrils as you're zesting it. Nice floral components. Really juicy, ripe peach, a very sappy component. Not a whole lot of minerality here or anything, just real ripe forward fruit. All right. It's like that scene out of What About Bob where he's eating that corn. Just delicious, delicious wine. Wow. Really, really ripe, juicy. There's like a dreamsicle character here. Same flavor profile as I would expect from the nose. That orange zest, ripe fruit. It's definitely sweet on the palate. I think there's a medium to medium plus acidity here though that balances it out. It's making no bones about being a dessert wine, but it's definitely clean and fresh. It's not super cloying or anything. It's a very nice example of a Muscat. Very pleasant to drink and medium bodied. Solid. Yeah, very solid.
You mentioned the dreamsicle. It reminds me of that orange push-up.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's definitely transforming. Very, very good. Okay, so wine 5B. This wine has got a distinct yellow character, a little bit more of a bronze yellow with some light green highlights and some bright yellow highlights. A little bit more rim variation here. Viscosity is medium plus to high.